tucked away in the hills.
Just a little remote section of, paradise, I guess.
The town of Skykomish has stayed small.
Our population is about 160.
The residents here are content with the quiet.
All of us who live up here enjoy living up here. It's really a lifestyle.
But this town wouldn't survive without Highway 2 and the business it brings, in the form of travelers and tourists, to small businesses like the Cascadia Inn and Cafe.
Hi there, hi. Good. What can we do for you? The bulk of the guests, especially in the cafe, and even a lot of the hotel guests, are people that are just passing through.
The business thrives during peak travel season. So if that highway stops, so does their income and access to the outside world, which is what happened last year for weeks during the Bolt Creek fire.
It totally closed down the business. It closed down the highway, so not only people coming to town or stopping in town for business, it disrupted all the people on the west side of the mountains or east side of the mountains that wanted to cross through the pass here.
The reminder of that isolation sits just behind the quaint town. Over the hill, a clear line in the trees, charred trunks showing just how close the fire got. A threat that looms once again this year, says state climatologist Nick Bond.
When you look at the outlook for summer 2023, what's the number one thing that jumps out to you?
That it's liable to be warmer than normal.
The National Interagency Fire Center's outlook for the summer shows above normal fire risk for the Northwest for July, August, and September, the only area in the country with that elongated threat.
Because we don't really get much rain around here in the summertime, things continue to dry out through August and well into September, and what we saw last year into October. So the threat in general is later in the summer than in other parts of the West.
So this is something we're going to be talking about for months to come.
Unfortunately, yes.
But we also have to look back to understand why there is an elevated fire risk moving forward. If a region sees a lot of rain during wet months, that helps vegetation grow. Then, if warm weather hits, the heat dries out that vegetation. The longer the heat lasts, the more dry it becomes, essentially turning into a tinderbox. So if a spark should ignite, it's set up for a worst-case burning scenario. And we've seen these major extremes in the last year. 2022 started extremely wet, then quickly switched to dangerously hot and dry. Then an overall dry winter and spring brought below average rain. So with no wet relief provided so far this year, the summer is starting dangerously dry and is set up to stay that way.
The models do indicate, as a group, wetter winters and drier summers. And so that's going to just already exaggerate the water cycle and the challenges we have with, obviously, floods at times in winter and then lack of water in summer.
Those extremes creating a new normal.
And as things are changing here, we're seeing that those changes are having impacts, and one of them, unfortunately, seems to be more acres burned in wildfires.
The numbers show that change. In Washington, from 2003 to 2012, more than 1.5 million acres burned on average every year. In the next 10-year span, from 2013 to 2022, more than 4.5 million acres burned on average every year, nearly triple compared to the decade prior.
What we have to learn how to be is resilient.
A lesson being fully embraced in places like Skykomish. Henry's full-time job is running the inn.
Or is this going to be to go, to take out, or are you going to sit?
But he's also the mayor, talking to other neighboring leaders about emergency preparedness and prepping his own community to be ready if the highway gets shut down again.
Now we've really reinforced the message to be prepared for at least 2 weeks.
And a new reality for them since the Bolt Creek fire. Be ready for the worst.
People don't really think about that until it really happens. It's like, okay, what do you pack, what do you take and leave behind, and realize it may not be there when when it's all said and done.
Until then, they're staying busy with the start of tourist season.
We have regular drip coffee if you like just a coffee.
But not forgetting.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That it's also the start of fire season. Leah Pezzetti, King 5 News.